welcome back to my channel. So in this video, from the title, you can tell, I should say, I'm gonna be talking to you about what it's like to be a prison nurse. Originally I was gonna make this video much earlier, but I figured I should spend some time in the job actually, finding out what's required of me before doing a video for you guys. So yeah, so now I'm a year in and I feel like I'm in a position to say to you, okay, this is what prison nursing is like, and here we are. That brings us to this video. If I don't have any footage for you guys because we cannot take phones inside, but all I can do really is just describe and talk about what I've experienced there. Yeah, so typical day as a prison nurse, you'd come in, well, with where I work, you'd come in for 7 a.m, have a handover, which is usually about 10-15 minutes from the night nurse, and then you'd go to the office. So our handovers aren't held in our office, so after the handover, you'd go to the office, have a cup of tea usually, get your review list and your meds list for the morning. So you'd look at the allocations, things like that. Yeah, look at the allocations, get your review list and your meds list. Prepare things you may need. So whether it's to get dressings, equipment, different things that you need to take with you onto the wings to do your job. You take that and then you'd be at your medication hatch in the mornings for about 7:30 on a good day. One thing that you should note about prison nursing is a lot of the time security comes first. So before your medical, should I say, how should I put this on? Before your nursing interventions and all that, the security would come first. So that being either the security of you as the nurse or the security of the prison itself. So yeah, so you'd come in, grab your review list, grab anything you need, have a cup of tea if you have time. Very, very big on a cup of tea. I can't start my day without one, in all honesty. And then you go to your hatch, do your medication hatch. That can run anything between 1 to 2 hours and at worst 3 hours, depending on how big the wing that you're doing the meds on is. I'm just realizing this camera's actually sideways. It's like, yeah, that's better. Yeah, so 1 to 3 hours, depending on how long your meds list is. And then after that, you'd be expected to do your reviews. So your reviews could be anything from flipping, just like asking questions for patients, filling out a template, to like bilateral legs, to abdominal reviews, to there's a whole range of things like injections, all of that. Like there's a whole range of things. Essentially the way I see it is that part of prison nursing is like GP nursing. Like as a practice nurse, you essentially work as a practice nurse. Like you'd have a call for patients would come to you, you'd do the treatment, look after them, do whatever they need, and they'd go about their day. You'd book them for any follow-ups, you'd document. Like we use system 1 for documentation, which I think is like general across all prisons. So whether you go from one prison to the next, like it will be the same system that you're using to do your documentation. Yeah, so we do that, and then clinics would run till about 12:30. So then at that point you'd go back to the office where you then like sort out any samples you've got. So blood, stool, urine, swabs, all of that. You'd sort that out, send that off. And then you've got a period between that 12 and 3 that actually, because the prisoners are locked up from like 12 till about 1:30. So around that time you'd have your lunch, sort out anything you need to sort out. Then at 1:30ish you could go back to the wings and just finish off any reviews that you had from the morning. So then it saves it having to be moved on to another day, and then you can just get it done and dusted. So then that brings you up to about 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock-ish, you'd go back again for another medication hatch. That's usually about 2 hours as well. Yeah, about 2 hours, 2-3 hours at worst, depending on how big your hatch is. After that, you'd come back to the office. Once again, you can finish off documentation, finish off things you have. yeah, like each day, the running of each day is different because there's different shift patterns. Like sometimes you're finishing at like 3, sometimes you're finishing at 12, sometimes you're finishing at 7 p.m, sometimes you're finished at 9:15. But the longest shift that we have is till 9:15. But not everyone does that, and it's not always like that every day. Typically, yeah. So alongside, I'm like dropping everything. So alongside hatches and reviews, we also have emergency radios. So in where I work, they're called Hotel 12 and Hotel 13. So they'd be like your ambulances, your response, and their nurses as well. So when you come in and you look at the allocation, you'd look whether you're under radios or if you're doing hatches. So if you're doing hatches, and that comes with reviews. If you're doing the radios, you're on the radio. But sometimes you do end up having to do reviews whilst on the radio as well, especially if it's a quiet day. Like if you're not getting much calls, you'd go out and help around where you can. Yeah, so on the radios you'd respond to emergencies, and that as well, it can range from anything from a leg dressing to cardiac arrest to self-harms to ligatures to everything. Personally, that's my favorite part of the job, like all the exciting stuff, the getting out there, doing all that. Yeah, I'd say that's what I love about the job the most. And yeah, that's more or less prison nursing, like from top to bottom, because you have your emergency response, you have hatches and clinics, and yeah, and you've got a lot of documentation in it. But that's with like most jobs anyways, you have to document everything, because at the end of the day, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. That's how they say it. Pay's good. You start 7 a.m, you can even start 1:15. Like there's different shift patterns. You work a lot as how do I put it, you work individually as an individual a lot. Like a lot of the time it's you making these assessments, it's you doing these checks and feeding back to the GP like, oh, these are your findings, like making recommendations. Then according to that, they'd either do a follow-up themselves or go along with it or whatever. Like it does really boost your lone working skills, should I say, like your clinical decision making as well. Be analytical, critical, like you are a lot of the time making those decisions yourself. So it's more than just listening to what the doctor tells you, what the GP tells you. It's what you feel is best treatment for that patient, more or less, and going off that. Yeah, I hope I've covered everything though. Like if not, just let me know in the comment box below. I'll try my best to answer all your questions, or maybe even doing a follow-up video if I find out there's a lot of questions that you guys want to know about. But generally all I've told you guys is what the daily routine is typically, what the shift patterns are, and you are working with a lot of different types of people. You're working with carers, you're working with physiotherapists, with GPs, with podiatrists, with dentists. Like you're doing a lot. Like with prison nursing, it's like you're the middleman for a lot of these people. Like you're doing referrals to TVNs and all that. But yeah, it's a really enjoyable job anyways. Like I enjoy it, and I'm sure quite a lot of people do. But I found that when I was looking to go into it, there wasn't much in terms of people with personal experience of prison nursing on YouTube. So I thought, yeah, why not do that? So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. And yeah, in the comment box below, let me know any questions you may have. I will either do another video or just answer them all there if it's not a lot. Yeah, bye.
What they hate me for? Drip, 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 drip. That's what she see when she stole my page. I need a tick one like Shantae.